G'day guys, and welcome back to episode number 12, Wind Against Tide. And we've got a special guest in today, so Dave's going to introduce him.
Yeah, well, been a good week for me, Adrian.
Yeah?
Good week in fishing, which we'll get into a bit later. But first of all, I just wanted to give a big welcome to Jason Taylor, who's been kind enough to come into studio and have a chat with us. Just really wanted to get Jase on because he's one of our favourite local fishing identities. He does a lot of different styles of fishing, which we can really appreciate.
Yep, 100%.
And he's an all-round good bloke, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. But yeah, welcome aboard, Jase.
Thanks, Dave, for the kind words.
Yep, you can pull your mic out a bit closer.
Yep.
So,
and Adrian.
Yeah.
So I've written down a few questions for you, Jase, just to get a bit of conversation going here. So I thought we might start off at the very beginning, because it's always interesting to know how people got into the sport of fishing. So
yeah, Jase, what got you into it?
Probably when I was younger, my cousin was a big influence. He was like a brother to me, and he used to do trout fishing and carp fishing. And so started off that way, and then my mum and I moved to St Kilda. Across the road from St Kilda Marina, and I saw all these boats bringing in snapper, and that's where it started. Yep.
So you saw the Red Sea and you got keen?
I did, yeah. Back in the days when there was no bag limits and there was just snapper scales just everywhere.
Yeah, right, no bag limits.
No bag limits. No, and if you came in to the marina with your boat full of snapper, you were the king.
Right.
It's funny how times have changed, hey?
yeah,
Crazy.
for some people it has. Can I get you to shuffle forward slightly, Jase, and just make sure you're talking, get that mic a bit closer to your mouth?
Does it not go closer?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you probably want it like within a couple of inches of your mouth. A bit of technical stuff going on there.
No, that's all good.
Yeah, so all right, so you started off fishing out of St Kilda.
Yep. And then at the age of 16, I bought a boat. And
Yeah, right.
My mum paid for it to be in St Kilda Marina, which was a bad move because all I did was wag school and go fishing.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and that was also a centre console.
Yep.
Yeah. So
So
that was the start.
You started your journey in a centre console, and
Where am I now?
I believe you've got. We were going to talk about that later, but I believe you've got yourself a really good little all-rounder centre console boat at the moment, which is a Formula 15, is it?
Correct. Yep. So I've had that for 6 years now, and it had a minor rebuild, which it didn't need, and built it to go offshore and catch kingfish. That's my favourite fish, and tuna, and do everything. And I'm in the process of putting a electric motor on it at the moment. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
So when you say you got a rebuild and it didn't need it, what was involved in that?
Well, I sold the motor and sold the trailer, put a casting deck in, and overpowered the boat. It didn't have a build plate on it, so
Oh, wow.
so I put a Mercury 115 Pro XS, and so it goes like a cut cat. It's a great little boat.
Because I was actually questioning this with Winger, because we've been talking about upgrading motors in our tinnies.
Yep.
I go, how does Jason have a Formula 15 with a 115 horsepower motor on the back? Like, what's he done special to get that?
It's insured and all, so don't know.
So is that why you needed was that strengthening the transom or something?
During the minor rebuild, we put knees in it as well.
Yep.
So, made sure of it. And we put a fiberglassed a live bait tank in the corner, so that's also going to strengthen the...
Is that on the opposite side?
It's on the port side.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone has it on the port side because they've got steering cables and all that on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's funny how we all start off with small boats. We end up in big boats. Then I feel like a lot of people come back to that 15-foot sort of size boat like yourself and Adrian have, because it's so easy to just store in your garage or at home, or in Adrian's case at his factory.
It's at home now.
Well, yeah, it does fit in your garage at home.
Yeah.
But, and you can just whip out on your own very easily. One man launches and everything very easy. And, you only really want to go out on reasonable weather anyway. So
exactly.
We go up to like 6-7 meter things, and then we end up back where we started.
Yeah. It's to have a smaller boat. It's just so simple and easy to launch by yourself, and fuel's so expensive as well. So it's cheaper to run. And
I agree with that. Yeah.
Plus, it's cooler.
I think I get like 300 kilometers off the range of my tank.
100 litre?
Yeah, 100 litre. Yeah.
Wow.
It goes between about 2.7 or 3 litres kilometres per litre, so it's pretty efficient.
Yeah. Well, I went to Welshpool out to the islands and back, and 30 litres, and drove it hard at sometimes as well. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite cheap to run.
We actually saw another Formula 15 at Stony Point Ramp about 2 a.m. A couple of months ago, and I go, "Is that Jase Taylor?"
Well, it would have been your boat's twin, I reckon.
Really?
Because I reckon
there's a few around. There's not lots.
Same motor, 115 Pro XS.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's got to be Jason, doesn't it? And it was some.
It wasn't.
No, it was some guy that fishes with Reedy's rigs or something.
Yeah.
That would be Frank.
Frank, yeah.
Yeah, same boat. All the bells and whistles on it.
Yeah. They go fast. They're a copy of the Haynes Hunter mould, the 445 146.
Oh, okay.
So that hull just performs really well at rest and through the chop and offshore and everything. So I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, awesome.
It's just that standard thing with boats when you make the dead rise sharp, the bottom of the boat, so they cut through the water well. You make them heavy, and they're going to ride well, which is what Haynes did, and now everyone else is still copying those designs all these years later.
Yeah,
shows that they're a good boat. So,
Correct.
Sorry, Jase. So moving on. Your favourite, I know what you're going to say here, but I'll ask you anyway. So what's your favourite species to catch, and why is it a kingfish? No.
I think just fishing for snapper in Port Phillip Bay, I used to fish with this older fella, Peter, and he's now passed away now. But when we used to go snapper fishing, if we hooked something big and unstoppable, it must have been a kingfish,
Yeah.
Not that you really sort of got them off St Kilda or whatever. And they were just this mythological fish. And 10 years ago, I caught my first one, and they are everything that I thought they were. They fight good, they look good, they taste good, and there
he is there with a surfaced
monster.
Caught one.
Yeah.
Where was that caught?
That was a couple of years back. Yep, that was on Topwater, so that makes it even more special.
I'm on his Instagram here, just having a look here.
Was that overseas?
No, that's Australian fish. Yep.
Victoria?
Why?
So that fish I couldn't release. My biggest one I've released. I like to release all the big ones. And last year I tagged 20 kings, and most of them were a metre. So if I catch, a smaller one, I'll keep it for a feed and try and release all the big breeders. And to find out where they've been recaptured is, it's always good to hear where they've gone. And so 2 were recaptured, funnily enough, from a double hookup solo. One was in Sydney after 2 months. So from Phillip Island, it went up to Sydney in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I was on a mission, that fish.
Yeah, it was. It just goes to show. So that was in April, and it moved out of Victoria as soon as it got cold.
Yep.
And then recently the other one got recaptured, and it was off Jarvis Bay, and it is no longer with us. It was speared. So,
wow. So someone speared it and pulled the tag out.
Yeah, which is all good, yeah.
Yeah. Well, spearfishing's actually quite sustainable, really. I mean, they are killing every fish they spear, obviously, but there's not a lot of bycatch. They're not potentially releasing fish that aren't fit for release or anything like that.
No, I don't think they get the numbers like a fisherman does. So spearfishing is fine by me.
Yeah.
Well, anyone who has the balls to jump in the water in the fish's element surrounded by deadly sea creatures.
Yeah.
Right, when you're a kid and you get your first Hawaiian sling, you just shoot everything.
Yeah. That was me. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was
I just
all of us.
remember all the leather jackets, all the black wrasse and
Your siblings.
yes, rocks bending the
The prongs. Yeah. Yeah.
just bent. Oh, I got another rock. Yeah,
It's good fun. All right. Well, I feel like we've transitioned into the next sort of area. I had some other stuff to bring up, but we're talking about Kingfish now, so we'll continue on that track.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of your kingfishing reasonably locally in Victoria, Jase.
I do. Yep. Yep.
So what's your favourite area? Well, I suppose, in Victoria.
Welsh Pool, probably Welsh Pool, because I had a caravan down there.
Yep.
And so, like I said, 10 years ago, I got my first kingfish, and it was out of Welsh Pool and out of the islands. And as soon as I got my first one, I was just obsessed and just kept going back. And there wasn't big numbers of kingfish back then. So they've definitely come back, because it seemed like only once or twice a season I'd get kingfish and they'd be at Welsh Pool.
Yeah,
but
right.
now you go to Welsh Pool the last few seasons, like you will catch them at almost every island, and you just got to see the amount of boats that are out there.
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest kingfish in Victoria are down at the prom there.
Yeah, we know Dave's one of his high school friends, Dane. He spears them down there at the islands there.
Yep.
And we see 20 plus kilo ones all day, every day.
Yeah. He says the big ones are always underneath this. Well, not so small ones, but say you can have 10 to 15 kilo ones on top, and the biggest of the fish are usually cruising down the bottom.
The Victorian record is down at the Glennies there,
Yep.
which was about 8 years ago.
It's funny you talk about the Glennies. Dave always says to me, "Oh, you need to drop me off there on a boat, and I'm going to camp on that island there, and go. I'm just going to have a swag and a couple of casting rods, and leave me a pool, some live baits, and I'll be happy."
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do this year. I've caught plenty of kingfish, but to get one land based. So I don't know, to be dropped off at an island, still counted as land based. Do you agree?
Yes, of course it is.
Okay. Yep. So that's what I want to do, is catch a good king off.
So you're going to get dropped off at the Glennies,
well, Adrian, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'll fish.
Yeah. Well, you
Drop me
guys
off
go
and
out the
fish.
boat and
Yeah.
give me some room, and away we go. And I'd say probably lures is the best way.
Yep.
Yeah. It was quite amazing last year. I think I did one day down at Welsh Pool, and that fishery really is something else now. It's almost like what Eden and Green Cape used to be. Like, we went down there must have been 80 plus boats, I reckon, all around, in a fairly small area. And as we approach, there's just kingfish rippling on the surface.
Yeah. Kingfish don't seem to be boat shy like snapper or anything. They'll swim around the boats. But I'm telling you now, those kingfish weren't there 10 years ago, because I used to go every weekend to Welsh Pool and chase kings, and they just were not there. And I'd go to every single island.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's because the water temperature is slowly increasing, or is it
I don't know.
less dredging in the bays? And
No, it wouldn't be dredging. I know fish traps were a big thing up on the New South Wales coast, and that really cut down the numbers. But they still say that the numbers of kingfish are not as good as what they should be. So
yeah.
Well, I think they've seen that up in Sydney with a lot of tag recaptures, which has been pointed out as maybe pointing towards a low biomass.
Yeah, correct.
Being that we're releasing the fish, but there's not that many fish that are untagged there to eat the baits. You're seeing the same
we have
fish
the
over and
same
over
thing
again.
with the argument with marlin. We never get out marlin recapture. Is that because they're dying, and Dave goes, no, it's because there's so many.
Yep.
We're just catching different ones.
Or the longliners are just...
Yeah.
Yep.
You reckon it's the longliners?
I don't know. I've heard stories, but, still it doesn't stop me from tagging fish, whether it's, kingfish or tuna.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've tagged quite a few tuna in Victoria over the couple of years, and
Yeah, heaps of them, yeah.
I'd love to know where they end up, because at the moment there's a real good bite off Eden and Burmese of this, the size fish that we were catching in summer. And
Yeah, yep.
so Dave was thinking, are they our summer fish or what's going on?
Yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, actually, I know South Australia, they're all sort of wondering where their summer run of bluefin are, because they haven't really turned up there yet. Normally they're in huge numbers there already.
Right now, in December.
So, and we saw the first local ones mid-December last year. So
Yeah. And they went right through to July, basically. So
yeah.
I think looking at the snapper season and the water temps, it's a later season, and there's bugger all kingfish reports.
Yeah.
Almost zero at this point of time.
Kingfishing's bloody hard in Western Port.
Yeah. Look, I struggled on the snapper, so yeah.
Well, do you think? I reckon I've noticed this because I first started chasing kingfish out of Western Port. I reckon back in about 2011.
Yeah.
And it took me about 15 trips to catch one. But I can't remember ever seeing kingfish on the top out of Western Port, cruising the surface. Have you seen that?
Can't say I have. No, I haven't.
We always try cast at the rocks and stuff, and then you have a live arrow squid down there and it gets taken straight away.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about Victorian kingfish, but they are really hard to get topwater.
Yeah.
Okay. There's certain areas like Port Welshpool is certainly one of the easiest places.
Marlow as well.
Marlow, yes.
I don't know if you've seen
back in the days.
This video
Dave.
here.
Well, that's what that behaviour at Port Welshpool reminded me of.
Yep.
All these fish here up on top.
Yeah, that's true fish porn. That's just I've watched this video so many
Oh,
times.
have you? Yeah. Joshy goes nuts on it.
He does, yeah.
Well, this is about 2 years after we originally did it off a different reef off Marlow with Kevin Bahaja.
Yeah.
That was Australia.
Have a look at the fish coming through now.
Yeah, they're quality fish too.
You always see bigger ones than the ones you hook.
Yep.
But we always manage to catch a random rat kingfish when we're casting and trolling for tuna.
Yeah, yep.
Just a random one all the time.
I think they're probably in transition, from New South Wales to
Okay, is that what you
somewhere
reckon?
else or something. I'm not sure, because they seem to get a lot of fish from South Australia caught in New South Wales, but we don't seem to get them. So it's they cut across somewhere.
Okay.
And, Portland is such a great fishery for kingfish.
Yep.
But they don't get them at Port Mac. I don't think I've ever heard of a kingfish caught at Port Mac.
But then further on, we got this guy that messages. What's his name?
Billy Papa.
Billy Papa. He's been catching 20 kilo models, he reckons. And
Well, yeah, I was going to bring that up when I did my little whip around of what's been happening in fishing, but we'll go with that now. Yeah, so Billy Papa's messaged us on our
have a look at
Insta.
this one, Jase.
Wow.
So he's fishing the Spencer Gulf. And he was actually finding these fish on side scan, he reckons.
Yep.
Yeah, he sent us some messages about it.
So that's all the info I have there. You king fishermen are bloody more secretive than mulloway fishermen, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all that he wanted to give us.
They're hard work. So Spencer Gulf's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's all I said. I knew I didn't want to ask an exact area. I said, what's your rough region of capture? Just so
Up
I
the
could.
top or down the bottom?
Who knows? But anyway.
Oh, no, I think they're all down the bottom because he sent some sounder pics and they look quite low.
In the water column.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite shallow all through there,
Yeah.
unless you're out in the channel.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of apt that we're talking about kingfish because one of our questions we had come through on YouTube through the week before we even knew that we were getting you on, Jase, was Chasing Fish have sent us a message saying, love the show as always, boys. Wanted to catch my first Vic Kingy this summer. Got any tips for chasing them? So I'll put that one to you, Jase. What would your tips be for someone who's just starting out and wants to catch their first kingfish?
Port Welshpool or Portland, I'd say.
Yep.
Yep, definitely. You can go to the Rip, but the Rip is hard work.
Stuff
and
that
A million boats.
Yeah, and it's...
And people catch the bottom and they think they're on a kingfish.
I've been there, don't worry. I thought I was on actually, just quietly.
Yeah.
I'd go to Port Welshpool. Yep, definitely.
Yep.
And if you can get liveys, that's a bonus. Yep. You can troll squid strips. You can jig as well.
Yeah.
And but definitely live it's a good guarantee.
The North Shore is a good spot as well.
It is, yeah.
A lot of guys get them on their squid, trolling little squid strips there. So they school the tuna there as well. So
yeah, it's to get the daily double down there is always a bonus.
Yep.
So when you're trolling your live baits, Jase, are we talking? We're talking live yakkers, live slimy mackerel, and squid. Is that the main ones that you'd use?
I've hardly caught a kingfish on squid.
Oh wow!
Really?
True. Yeah. Yep.
Oh wow!
Yeah, bugger
So
all.
when we're at Seal Rock there, everyone's towing little yakkers and stuff.
Yep.
We actually go out to the 50 line and catch some squid, whether it's calamari or arrows.
Yep.
And we do one or two pass, bang, on.
Oh right. Yeah. Okay.
And
there
it's
you
like
go.
they want the squid only, so
Yep.
whether it's cala or arrows, so
Yeah. Yep.
I think I've noticed that though. I think some days they're locked in on one thing,
Yeah.
like slimies will smash it, and some days they're locked in on another.
Yeah. Whether it's yakkers or slimies, probably slimies I'll use first because they seem to die in the live bait tank first.
Yep.
But I bridle them through the eye,
Yep.
with a needle and a bit of braid, and use a circle hook. And,
Okay.
Circle.
Yep.
So we just use normally the number 6 live bait hooks, basically.
Well, we actually run twin
Yeah.
6 or 7 live bait hooks. We used to bridle them, and then we found that we were missing heaps of fish
Yeah.
that were just grabbing the back half of the bait or the bait and missing the bridle.
A live bait or a squid?
Live.
I'm talking live bait.
Yeah, yakkers and
No, my hookup rate's like 90%.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really good, really
just
good. Yep.
bridled, yep.
Yep, just bridled and have a circle hook, and you'll see the rod, dance around before it gets hit. And I used to strike, and I just missed so many. So you just let the rod load up.
So what kind of drag setting you got when you got this on?
Strike drag.
Strike drag, so you're talking about like 8 kilo.
Yeah, 8 kilo, just enough to set the hook, and away you go. Yep.
Okay.
So you go the softly approach on Kingfish, or do you go full beans?
Depends where I am, but I haven't been reefed by a kingfish in 4 years.
Have you fished Seal Rocks?
I have, yep.
So you know how it goes like 15 to like 7 meters and it's real right on the edge there. We've lost a lot of fish there going.
Never lost a fish there.
Oh, there's one time we had a double there, and I think Dave lost his to the reef, and I've just gone straight up on the what reel was it? It was a Talica.
Yep.
And I've gone right up, and we tested the drag after we landed when we got back, and it was 17 kilos.
Yeah, yep.
And I remember my wrist was just like
Yep.
real sore that night, and I was like, man, that killed me.
Yeah, they go hard. The harder you go on a rod, the harder they'll go. And I've even caught kingfish which have got marks on their face because they've been digging into the reef.
So Winger thought he would try a different approach in that same area where it was, what did he do? Like barely any drag. He just let the
Well, that
fish
was
swim
me.
up. Oh, it was you.
After that, I got reefed like 5 times, so I thought, stuff this, I'm going light as.
Yeah.
And I haven't lost them going light.
Yeah.
So there's something in that. And
Depends where you're fishing. Welsh pool's also quite reefy as well in shallows, and some are, they seem to hang around islands,
Yeah. Montague Island's a good one if you want to catch your first king, because there's lots of them there.
Yep.
Just can't get the right size.
Yeah, and you got seal issue there as well. So
You'd be mad to drive that far for kingfish.
No,
these
but
days,
if you're
though.
real desperate, that is your probably go-to spot.
you'd probably go up there for marlin, and the water's rolled over. Then you go kingfish, or it's too rough to go wide or something. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, when we were up at Jervis Bay for marlin last time, our mate that was with us was desperate for us to take him along the cliffs for kings.
Oof.
And we kept breaking his heart every day.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going for kings now? Nah, mate. We stay out here till sunset for the marlin. And he was absolutely shattered every day when we just drove past his cliffs.
yeah, it looks pretty good there for kingfish, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But then you just got to go, I don't know, another 20K in the rough shit. Just
Yep.
Because that entrance is real rough all the time. Like,
Yep.
I've never been through it when it's not been rough.
Yeah, it's all the current.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just get slapped around, and Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like
I don't enjoy it.
it's like Western Port. That entrance is as bad as it gets.
I
and
know, but we've been through it a million times, and there's days where it's like, oh,
You
what's
know
people?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's people talking about? This isn't bad.
yeah, I reckon our local fish, they're usually a really good size class. So, like, what's your biggest fish? Just fishing out of, well, I'm gonna say out of Western Port, which is our local port. You got a real big one, didn't you? Not long ago, didn't you, Jase?
Meter 18 is probably the biggest.
Okay.
At the front. Yep.
I think I got a metre 23 off there.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah.
What did it go? 13?
13 point something. Yeah.
13.2.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought you got like a metre 25, Jase.
Not out the front. No. It might have been elsewhere.
Is that what that one
Here you
that
go,
Adrian
Jase.
put up before?
Yeah, it's a nice fish.
Yeah, so that was... We had a
He's-
double, and Dave probably had a pigeon pair on, and he got reefed.
I'm
And
sure Dave's was bigger.
yeah, I tell him that all the time.
Yeah.
I go, you probably had an 18 kilo one on. So
Oh, well, someone had to help you, didn't they, Adrian?
yeah, you quickly grabbed the cameras because no one had cameras going.
That's actually why we lost it, because we hooked up, you grabbed the rod, I went back to turn the GoPro on, and by the time I got back again, the fish had nearly buried me.
Yeah,
Teamwork.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I went up to 17 kilos, just full sunset. I'm like, I'm not losing this one this time.
Yep.
Because we lost a few that week. We went about 3 times that week, and what did we do? We lost like 2 or 3 the day before.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, just bang.
Yep.
You just
Hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
What do you
so we've discussed, so I don't know if we already talked about this, but I think your favourite way to target kingfish, Jase, you'd say that would be Topwater?
Oh, definitely Topwater. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just they're so hard to get in Victoria, Topwater.
Yeah.
It's just certain areas. Yeah.
So you obviously know how to do it then.
Persistence?
Persistence. Yeah.
Time on water.
I mean, I'll still have live baits out and still try and cast at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah. But it's
Kevin
hard.
Bahaja goes out a lot off the prom there.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Does well in Topwater.
Yeah.
He's good.
That definitely is an area that you're a pretty good chance
Yeah.
Yeah.
casting though.
If it's shallower, it seems like, they're closer to the surface.
Yeah.
So what would your favourite, maybe top 2 or 3 Topwater lures be for catching kings?
Kings are pigs, and when I've done my New Zealand trip, they'll eat a huge salmon, so never think...
KY.
Yeah, kahawai. That's it. And so you could almost use like a GT popper.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And-
big dog.
yeah, big one. Yep. And quite a large stick bait as well. And floating stick baits are good.
Okay.
FCL Larbo poppers are great.
So do you find the poppers more effective than the stick bait?
It just depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Or if you're fishing maybe deeper water, you'd use a popper to bring them up.
Yep.
If you're fishing shallows, then you maybe use a stick bait. And just watching the guys up at New South Wales that seem to have those better quality fish, they seem to get consistent results on Topwater with quite large stick baits. So, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So you reckon if we were a chance at Seal Rocks or Flinders Rock there,
Big stick baits.
you reckon
Yep.
use big ones?
Yep.
It was funny because we used to always find that the popper would get them up and the stick bait would hook them.
Okay, yeah.
So someone would have to sacrifice themselves and cast the popper,
Yes.
and the other person would cast the stick bait in behind them.
It's like
hook the fish.
Murray cod fishing.
Yeah.
Like it's always the rat or something that gets the buff, and then someone casts a stumpy and gets a hook up
Yeah. Stump jumper, yeah.
behind the buff.
Yep.
And he gets. That's what happened with me and Winger one day, and I'm throwing a big rat,
Yep.
getting buff, and he just quickly chucks his stumpy,
Yep.
hooks up straight away.
Yeah.
I was like, you bastard.
Teamwork,
Yeah.
once again.
Yeah.
It's funny that the first time that we got them up at Marlow there when they were everywhere on top, we'd gone out and we'd never been to the area before, and we trying to catch live baits for ages in back towards the boat ramp. We couldn't get any, so we ended up just like, oh, stuff it. We'll go out to the actual reef and just try and get them there. And the other 3 guys that were there were down the back just trying to catch live baits, and I'm like, just see how this popper swims. Like, I haven't done that much popping
Was
before.
this last year?
No, this is like 2011.
10 years ago.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember. Yep.
And I'm like, I'll just see how this swims. I'll just have a test cast. I cast this popper out. There's no sign of anything anywhere. And like 3 pops into my retrieve, and the water just turns green behind this popper, and there's just 1,000 kingfish behind it.
Yep.
That's crazy.
An old fast hands winger grabs the stick bait rod and buddy puts it in behind my popper and hooks up.
Away you go.
And then, from there on in, it was like 50 something.
He seems to have a habit of doing that.
Right
Casting
place,
in front
right
of the
time.
teaser.
Yeah, well, he's opportunistic.
He's
Gotta
a
give him
fad.
that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's about...
Because you foul hooked one in the tail, was it last year? A good one off Wilson's Prom.
couple of years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
We rocked down to Glenny Island, and there was just big kings everywhere on the top, and I cast a big, what was that? It's like a 8 or 10 inch stick bait.
Yeah, it was a
I think
big
like
one.
it was like a fisherman, like it was a good one, expensive one.
Yeah.
And somehow hooked one in the tail.
You must have thought it was like a 20 kilo fish fighting it on the tail.
Well, actually, hooking in the tail, I reckon, immobilized it a little bit.
You're drowning him basically.
Yeah, because he didn't have any power. And then once I got him up to the boat, I just held his tail out of the water and he couldn't go anywhere.
Jeez.
Yeah,
So
right.
that was one of the quicker kings I've ever stopped, I
Yeah.
reckon.
So how big was he?
13.
Yeah, it was
Point
big.
something.
It was big.
Yeah, 1.2 metres.
I can't remember if we actually measured it, but it was quite long and lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victorian kings are always skinny for some reason.
Lack
Yeah.
of... Would you reckon it's a lack of food?
Don't know. Compared to New Zealand,
I reckon it's because they've gone on such a big journey to get here.
Yeah.
They've used all their energy in food.
could be. Could be. Yeah.
You're probably right.
Because obviously you caught one down here and it went all the way to Sydney in 2 months. So
Yep.
they're obviously moving along the coast
Yeah.
real quick and real fast.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. Yep. Yep.
It could be something like that. But you do see the New Zealand models.
Oh, they're
just
fat,
chunky.
They're pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
It's like they're bass in Harpooka. They're just big
Yeah.
fat things.
Yep.
Did you catch any of them when you went over there or
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
on the jigs?
On the jigs, yeah.
Yeah. They
Really,
look so
really
epic.
deep. It's fun. Like when you hook up though in 100 plus meters, you
Yeah.
hook up and then you go, oh no, got to bring this fish to
The hookup's the
top.
fun bit in the first 2 minutes of the fight.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like when you're sword fishing and Dave wants to catch a ling on a jig on a spin rod.
Oh, really?
What was it? Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
I've caught
That's
heaps of
like-
them.
in like 500 meters, and I'm on the electric. I'm like, I'll race her up, and he's full, just going real hard at it, and he's just a psycho.
And then it comes up and it's a ling
Yes.
and you spew it.
I'm like, well, I got a blower. You got a ling.
Yeah.
So, moving off Kingfish a little bit, Jase, I was going to take us right back to the first time you and I went fishing together and maybe
Here we go.
go on that little journey together.
Yeah.
Well, what we were doing was there was a good run of big bluefin tuna down at Tasmania, and there was a goal set between, I think it was you, Luke Worster,
Rock.
aka Rock, Brendan Wing, and myself down there, and the goal was to
Good crew.
catch 100 kilo tuna on a stick bait, and she was a bloody eventful trip. I remember not much was happening during the day, and we did some nice rock climbing and
We did, yeah.
You went rock climbing?
We did. We climbed one of the islands right up to the top. Luke and I did, yeah.
yeah, and
Rock,
the
classic rock.
one of the funniest things I've ever seen was Luke and Jase climbing this rock, and then all of a sudden one of them squeals, and this seal comes out from behind her, chasing him around.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That must have been Luke.
Yeah, I can't remember, but
Oh, I did find some footage of Jase hooked up here, so I'm gonna go.
yeah.
to
So
it.
that afternoon, the fish came up, busting up.
We need it. He's losing a lot of line, guys. Winger's very dramatic with his techno music, isn't he? I'll put Jay.
How's Luke just selfishly casting still?
Got a few comments about that. Like,
Oh, did ya?
what is Luke doing? Like, you're on a fish of a lifetime.
He cares not for your fish, Jase. He wants his own.
panic stations.
Well,
There was no line left, full stop.
Get on there.
So
here he is here. Hang on.
There's a reason why you're on this boat, mate. You're very passionate about it.
So if you pause that for 1 sec, Adrian.
For 1 second, you reckon?
So that was very early in the days of casting at Big Tuna in Australia.
Yeah.
And to go down there, and there was 2 or 3 boats working all these busting giant tuna up, and we actually hooked 2 in that little
did,
session.
yeah.
On the stick baits?
Yep.
Was it
And-
stick baits?
Yeah, stick baits, yeah. And it just showed that that technique was viable and at times outperformed traditional trolling techniques.
But why wouldn't it work the same? It's still an imitation fish going
Yeah.
past the fish on the bait balls and stuff. Were you casting at bait balls or?
Oh,
there
there
was
was
just-
the fish busting up all around us. You know, I was going to
Yeah.
cast here, then they're here, then they're there, and it's just chaos. And
Yeah.
you know,
It's good when it's like that.
And I remember watching your lure just land, and a fish basically with its mouth open landed on the lure.
In his mouth.
it was actually just a reverse flick.
Yeah.
because I was going to cast there, and there's one.
Yeah.
So backhanded cast. And,
Yeah, right.
And I think from memory, those reels were set up for GTs or something, and they had quite heavy braid on them. So there wasn't huge
Oh, was it
capacity on there.
Luke's rods, was it?
So my rod and reel, and actually no, I borrowed the outfits, but I borrowed Luke's spool, and it had 130-pound braid. So that's
Wow.
why I nearly got spooled, and that's why that rod bent so badly as
So
well.
what drag do you reckon you had on it?
Oh, it was hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, I was only hooked up for 2 minutes or something, but after that, I was just emotionally drained. I was just done.
Emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. Yeah, because it was only 2 minutes into it, so.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a dream fish, and unfortunately,
Well,
with so much line out, it cut us off on the reef.
Well, we'll go
Well,
to
yeah.
the video here.
We thought reef or maybe a seal.
Talk to the camera, mate. Tell us how we got to be at this position right now. You tell us all about it.
Talked about a year ago.
Camera.
Oh no!
Quick, mate, quick. Winding up.
I felt it pop.
Oh, no.
I felt it pop. No.
All right, right behind us. Right behind us again.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Still painful.
So you reckon that hit the reef?
I reckon it was snagged, on kelp or something, because
Yeah.
it had that much string out that the fishes arced around or whatever, and we were going everywhere. So,
Yeah.
that's what happened, because there's no movement on the rod, and
Yeah.
it's just sitting there, and bang.
Have you had
she went.
another chance at one?
Yeah, I've had a couple. So I did get revenge 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At Port
good
Mac,
stuff.
so-
Port Max. You
Yeah.
still did it. So
Yeah. So
well done, mate.
that was 3 hours, and that fish was 132.
Oh, wow.
It was a
Big
blade.
one.
pig dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
pig
it
dog,
was
you
big,
reckon?
There's-
So,
Yeah, and I know that was a good achievement because I'd been down there trying to do the same thing in days prior.
You did
And
it
I
by
reckon I
yourself.
cast the whole tackle box at him and probably had 1 or 2 follow the lure, and that's it.
yeah, it's hard. Like to get that bite, is one thing, and then to stay connected,
Yeah.
and to land it, And I give a lot of credit to my housemate Aaron on the wheel. If you've got a good boat driver, that definitely helps. And I'd thought about this opportunity for so long, and catching school tuna for many years. I just had it going through my head on my plan of attack, and it paid off. It worked. It was 3 hours, but it was. Don't mean to say it was easy, but it was very doable.
Yeah.
And that's good because you see a lot of overseas tuna casting anglers, they share the rod around and stuff, which
Oh, do they?
personally I think is absolutely pathetic.
In the States, they leave it in the rod holder, the gunnels, and they
Yeah.
just wind it in from
Yeah,
there.
there's no fun in that, is there?
No.
No, well, I
It's
think
all boat driving, basically.
if you hook it, then you got to finish the job off, don't you?
It's like, I guess, the black marlin fishing up north in the game chair.
Yeah.
It's all boat and reversing and
Yeah. See, that's not me. I don't even own an overhead reel. I've just got all spin reels,
yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like catching things sometimes.
What about bait casters? You got bait casters?
Right, I've got one.
So what do you think you did different on that occasion that got you the bite?
The 130-pound braid, Dave.
And that was last time.
It was only on 75-pound braid and 80-pound leader.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
80-pound leader.
Yeah, because I had 2 outfits, and
Yeah.
I think we were down there for 2 days.
Yeah.
And on the second day, there was hardly any boats out. I think there was 7 boats, and then 6 of those boats were out, had caught fish, hooked up, and they'd gone in. So we were just like the only boat there, and there was just fish busting up all the time. And we're just, the boys are fishing baits down the back, and we're drifting on to another lot of fish and cast out, and then I hooked up and, hang on. Have I got another gannet or something? And then, and line starts peeling, and, shit, we're on, and
That's amazing.
50 metres of water, and we just stayed on top of it. And like I said, the boat driving was, just everything fell into place.
I can't believe you landed that on 80-pound leader.
Yeah,
Like, we've lost so many, like even kings and makos and everything on 80 pound. Just
it was good to go too. It was
Do you reckon it's because the boat driving kept the fish on one side, so the lure was always it wasn't pulling across the fish? Or?
No, there's still the marks down the
the
side and everything, and I still went pretty hard on it. And probably the first 40 minutes, the fish was up on the surface and it was darting around and everything. And then for an hour, it just sat deep.
Yeah, right.
And you can't do anything really. You just got to sit there and just keep pressure on. And then he came mid-water and started doing circles, and the circles getting smaller
big
and
pin
smaller.
wheels.
Yeah, and I'm just going, oh shit, we're getting there,
Yeah.
And then as the fish went past, it brushed the side of the boat actually, because I still had the harness on.
Oh.
And then it came around again, and the fish wasn't even on the surface, and Aaron gaffed it underwater. And
He's a bit of a gun, isn't he?
He is, yeah. So we got that, and the fish was hooked under the chin and in the corner of the mouth.
So it had gone through it. Like it.
No, just because it had two trebles, and I remember one was like in the sinew was the bottom of the jaw, so it wasn't coming out. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and just on a small little micros stick bait. So yeah.
It's so hard to know what to throw at them, isn't it? Because, like, I remember originally we were using quite small lures, and then we thought, that was the go. And then I know a lot of those guys at Port Mac in that bite that were getting them were throwing pretty big lures.
Yeah,
and having success doing that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know what to do, because I ended up just trying everything.
Yeah, just mix it up, because I know some of the guys from New South Wales came down and they got 3 barrels on Topwater.
I remember
I saw them hook up.
Yeah.
They hooked up next to me.
Oh, really?
Dave
what were you doing?
Dave had a mission.
I was casting I don't know what I was casting. Some stick bait.
He went on this mission. None of us were available, and he went down to Port Mac all by himself, I think for the weekend.
I did 3 days solo.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
just casting?
Just casting. He didn't want to troll.
I took the tuna lures down, and I was like, you know what, I'm on my own. There's no pressure. I may as well actually just catch one casting.
Yep.
So that's what I tried to do.
Yeah.
And failed.
And then you went down with Winger and Schulte, I think, after that, and got one on the pilchard.
Yeah, well, we were casting stick baits that day all day. And then Mark eventually got the shits with us casting stick baits.
As you would.
And dropped a pilchard down. It only took like 2 attempts at dropping a pilchard, and we hooked up.
Yeah, yep.
And
he literally gaffed it out of his clear, the side clear.
Yeah.
Because he's on the wheel, yeah.
He's literally just opened his window and bang.
I broke the rod. I fought it with a broken rod for about 30 minutes.
Yeah. How did that break?
Oh, well,
Surf
I was in
rod.
the harness,
story?
and then old mate on the gaff, personally, I think probably could have gaffed it about 3 times before that. But anyway, we didn't take the gaff shot, and then it just went under the boat that little bit too much, and because I was in the harness, the rod couldn't really get in a
that's the
better.
problem I had when it touched the boat.
Yeah,
Yep.
I couldn't really get in a better position, and the rod broke, and I immediately just backed the drag off, and I was like, I'm still on, like couldn't believe it. And then after that, I was like, I'm still gonna land it. Like I just felt like I was still no reason not to land it still.
That was like a 160 kilo fish, wasn't it?
I wish.
What was
It
it?
was 146.
Oh, I thought it was
146, yeah.
150. Brendan called it 150.
Literally on Brendan's snapper rods,
Yeah.
which is only PE6, which is way too heavy for snapper, but way too light for giant tuna.
Well, we also snapped them casting poppers for GTs. They just couldn't handle the big poppers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also
The,
appropriate because he snapped one last night back
Yeah.
into his own
Oh,
driveway.
he's got one left. He's got one left, I think. Yeah.
Good riddance. Yeah, so that was quite the progression from 2011, and you got that fish 2019, 2020,
Yeah, 2 years ago, September it was. Yep, 2 years ago. Yep.
and then I think you had an epic fight on one. Was it last Christmas time?
Oh, it'd be about now. This
yeah,
time
let's
last
go.
year.
Come on, let's go.
So we're up at Portland chasing kings and tuna.
Yep.
Over at North Shore, and 13 metres of water, and cast a stick bait out, and I wasn't even looking, and we're on, and had a young fella on board, Connor. I said, all right, here you go, mate. Here's your first tuna.
You thought it was a schoolie?
I did, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sort of just, mucking around with the boat, and he goes, oh, Jason, we don't have much line left. And I looked and went, oh, geez, so quickly reversed up a bit and chased it. And then I went, we're getting owned here. This fish is just heading straight out to sea.
We're
And
losing a lot of line.
again, yeah,
A lot of line.
a lot of line. Yeah. So that was 40-pound braid and 40-pound leader, and we're on
Yeah.
that fish for like 8 hours. And
Wow.
yeah, it was on a little surtate, 5,000 surtate.
Did you ever feel like you were going to get it? Or was it just
Well, the Daiwa reels, the 5,000 is a lot bigger than a Shimano 5,000, isn't it? Oh, it's not?
No, it's pretty small.
Oh, okay.
it's not, you idiot?
No, because you look at the dog pots, they're like a 7,500. They're a lot bigger than a 10,000 Saragossa.
Yep. This is the new sizing. It's a tiny reel. Yep.
Okay, the new sizing, yeah.
Yep.
So I remember the sizing used to be
Yeah.
bigger than
correct.
Shimano.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So how'd that one end, sorry?
Well, the young fella was on the rod and, just trying to encourage him, and he just couldn't put the herd on, and we only had a hand gaff. And, we didn't have a harness, and so eventually I took over, and, we're just getting nowhere, and the fish had taken us way out to 80 metres.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're on it.
That's a long way.
Yeah. And the sun was starting to set, and so I was on it, and I was really giving it heaps, and then I popped the leader and went, oh, all right, let's go home. I was done,
So how many hours was that?
Yeah, it was 8 hours or something.
8 hours,
Yep,
wow.
yep. So then
Jeez, that's a long time.
a very close friend of mine, he said, where were you? And I gave him the GPS mark, and he went down and caught one. And I think there was a couple of fish caught then.
Julia
Yeah,
Percy Island.
No, Julie Reef.
Oh, Julia Reef,
Yeah.
there you go.
13 metres.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. There was a few bigger ones around that period last year.
There was, yeah.
I wouldn't mind
I'll
going
have
down
to
for
text Jase next time where the fish are.
Jase gets all the intel from living with Aaron because Aaron's an ab diver.
Yeah, true.
No. It's
Hey.
the other way around, actually.
Oh, you reckon? Does he ask you where the abs are biting?
Yeah.
So I heard you went for a fish this morning, Jason, had a double hookup.
I did, mate. I did, yeah. Yeah, painful one.
Hang
Yeah.
on, I'll jump on his Instagram again. And
So,
check his, story.
You've been fishing the local estuary, which is Paddo River.
There he is. He's got a thing on.
So yesterday I had a bit of downtime, and I put some...
Did have a nice estuary perch on it, shaking around, and that's why it's nice and deep.
Ooh. Bent minnow.
There's one, I think it's here. It's not really plain, but yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
it's nice and frozen.
It is. Yeah, so I just upgraded the trebles on that lure yesterday. So they're nice, heavy and sharp and shiny, and, caught the fish and went to do the old bass grip and bang straight in there, and then it's flapping around. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, it hurts, but it's nothing major. And just did the old, drove home with the lure still in there.
Oh,
and-
really? You drove
yeah,
home with it?
I did, yeah. And because I tried to pull it out, but it's, didn't
It's
want to
gone
come.
past the little barb.
Oh, well and truly,
Yeah.
yeah. And went next door to my neighbours and took some braid and pulled it out, and
Yeah.
good to go.
It's so funny because every time we catch like stuff on lures,
Yep.
and I'm just handling it, and there's trebles going everywhere, and Dave just looks at me and goes, "You're going to get it through your hand one
It's
day."
just a matter of time, yeah.
And I
He's
never
reckless.
have.
He's
He
absolutely
goes, "Oh,
reckless.
yep, he's doing it again, guys." And nah,
It'll be like a
never had hook in
bluefin
me.
with
Yeah.
like 2 sets of trebles, and Adrian will just be grabbing the treble
Yeah.
as it thrashes around.
You got to do it quick though. Just bang.
Doesn't work that way.
Just
No.
shaking his-
You
It'll
need
be a matter of time.
a D-hook gun or pliers. Seriously, yeah.
He won't listen
Yeah,
until it happens.
that's it. Thought I had it
'cause-
covered, but no.
Because sometimes when you use pliers, I feel like you're damaging the hook and weakening it. So sometimes I just like to pull it out with my.
The hook's all right, mate. It's a tuna hook. It's pretty
Yeah.
thick.
Yeah.
Nah, just in general, like snapper fishing and stuff, I prefer pulling it out with my fingers. So
Yeah, trebles are pretty hard if you're
Yeah.
catching kings or tuna, you know. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Don't worry about him.
yeah, I'll get one through my hand next time and I'll
Like,
show you.
At least it looked like a nice EP. You've been getting some pretty big EPs down there. I saw estuary
Yeah.
perch. That is everyone.
Yeah.
Where'd you
and
get that?
when?
What's your location? No.
So during COVID, like,
You worked it out.
yeah, just was fishing local, and I grew up on the brim off St Kilda Pier when I was a kid.
Okay,
So, and now we're using lures, and yeah, I'm loving it. It's great. And since then, like I said, put an electric on my boat, and I've also bought a Hobie, and so
Got a
Hobie
Hobie?
kayak. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Next you have a electric on that.
yeah, not quite. So a few of the boys are a bit worried about me, you know,
Yeah.
going turning into a full brim mode. But no, Kings are about to arrive, so yeah, I'll be right.
Yeah.
You know what though? Like I think it is a good measure of an angler, the variety of species they can catch. If someone can successfully fish from small stuff through to really big stuff, then I think they've got a broad range of skills, and they're obviously a intelligent fish thinker.
So Dave, when was the last time you caught a brim?
Oh, well,
Not long
you'd
ago.
be surprised actually. I have caught some in my time.
He used to go.
On bait or
didn't you
lure?
go with Shane?
Oh, okay.
Shane in Warneet?
Well, yeah,
Warrnable.
no,
No,
Warner.
Warneet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Along the mangroves there.
We only did that once though. But yeah,
I
we
think
got.
Shane towed you up though.
Oh, he did. We got brim in Western Port, but yeah, I think down at Glen Elg I've caught a few Jews and brim and perch and stuff,
Silver
On the lures?
Mulloway.
which at the time was good fun. But then it's like, you know, I do enjoy the offshore stuff a little bit more. So I
Yeah,
just, I just
same.
don't have the time to do everything, you know.
Yeah.
And Adrian, your last brim or EP?
Oh mate, I haven't gone for brim in years. I think maybe Warrnambool at
Okay.
the
Yep.
one of the footbridges there
Yep.
on a bit of prawn about
Prawn.
10
No
years
lure?
ago. No,
No?
lure.
Okay.
That was the last time.
But Adrian lives at Paddo River near where you're getting the perch. So if you hear
Okay.
a rustling in the bushes nearby, it's us scoping where you've been catching
Jase is
them.
catching freshwater species in the system there. He caught a
Yeah,
bloody
that's
rainbow
right.
trout.
I did, yeah. Yep.
What,
Bit of bycatch.
so when you caught that rainbow trout and it came up on the surface, what were you thinking?
I thought it was because there's big mullet in there.
Yeah.
And they go pretty crazy as well. And this thing I hooked, it was going left and right, and it's long and skinny. And I went, oh my God, it's a trout. It's a rainbow. And
That's amazing.
yeah, great condition and everything. And I didn't have much fish in the fridge or freezer during COVID. So he came home and great, beautiful. Yep.
So
Sea runner.
Yeah, sea run. So
you know how you got the overspill from the storm?
Yep.
Do you reckon it came from there?
So I've got a friend at Fisheries.
Yep.
And I asked him about it, and he actually rang me this week
Yeah.
and said there's no one has released, any trout, or it's not them. So he said it's, a sea run trout, or it's come from a private dam or
Yeah.
something from the storms. So
You can normally tell the bred, the brute stock.
Yeah.
Because they got
the fins are clipped and all
yeah,
that.
and
It was good.
the nostrils and
No,
stuff.
it
weird.
looked like a good trout. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Well, we better run through a few of the viewer questions, Adrian, because we're getting on in time here. And we promised our favourite question, which I think we should all vote on our favourite question after we've gone through them, that we're going to put together a little prize pack.
So I'm wearing Dave's apparel brand here, and he's giving away some of this.
Well, basically, we've now given up on that apparel, and I've got a bunch of stock left, and I'm happy to give the rest of the stock away to our viewers or whoever wants to participate in the show. It's the least I can do.
I'm only wearing this, guys, because I was covered in mud and clay today, so I had to quickly change. And
I'm glad you stooped down to wearing my designs.
And
Thanks a
Dave,
lot.
when I go fishing, I don't wear a shirt, so I don't want one.
I've heard about that.
you,
Well, all right, quick, we better run through some then.
so Because I noticed you've been fishing with some lady anglers there.
Yes.
You fishing shirtless as well?
No. Look, that's maybe, quite a few years ago, but, I'm 50 odd now, so shirt doesn't come off these days because I'm not in condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've just always had a sloppy rig, so I don't worry about it. Too many fishing palmers.
All right. What questions you got for us, Dave?
Well, first one is, what piece of tech can't you live without? What needs improvement? From Lee's Chill asked us that one.
So Lee Chill asked us that.
All right, we'll do this one quite quick. So, favourite piece of tech, Adrian?
Well, I'm really enjoying my motor guide right now. I've been able to brain the squid, the snapper recently on the plastics, and I just can't wait to hit the cod on it. So I'm enjoying the motor guide.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Jase?
Side scan.
Side scan.
Yeah. Yep.
So you love that.
So just recently upgraded my sounder, Lowrance 12-inch.
Yep.
And just going,
The big dog, 12-inch.
Yeah, yep. It fills up the console nicely.
Yep.
So just going out of the river and let's look at side scan and oh my God, look at all the fish.
So do you run side scan and down scan? So you
can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Split screen it, yep.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It takes, a little bit to get used to it. Like you just got to think on how it's working because normally you're thinking of it's just straight up and down.
But you can change the depth and everything, can't
Yeah,
you?
on how far it wants to go. And people do it on Kingfish and, snapper in the bay. And if you're like in 10 metres of water, you can see the sand and you can see the reef and it's like, it's great to watch. It's good
so
to
you
see.
can actually adjust all that to see
Yeah.
more sand or more water. So
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see, sometimes you can clearly see the fish and then you'll see the shadow and you can see tyres on the bottom and it's great. And the poles and fish on the poles and, yep.
So what kind of tranny? Is that just the normal 3-in-1 tranny?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Correct.
Is it my turn?
Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, Dave.
Go, Dave.
well,
Getting impatient here.
So I've recently
Yeah.
downgraded my sounder
You downgraded.
due
does
to
that?
my Faruno dying from being bashed around the ocean too much. I'm really enjoying using my circa 2001 HDS 12 to mark
12
snapper,
or is it 10?
Really?
whatever it is.
I think it's a 10.
I don't think they made 12s back then.
No, it was a 10.
Oh, I don't know. It's bloody old. It's a
Yeah.
Gen 1.
Yeah.
It's just funny because it reminds me of the old days. And I'm like sounding these snapper on this old Lowrance and it's actually doing a good job.
So have you got the B174 in it, is it?
Right. Well,
164?
the next question actually leads on to that, which is Lockie W23 asked us what transducers we're running in our boats and what frequency and applications. So I'm a complete not tech nerd. I've had to write
Same.
this down.
Yeah.
I'm running a B164 high and low and an SS264 high, both through hull transducers.
Yeah.
So the high and low is the one that we use for marlin and pretty much goes from snapper through to marlin, day-to-day use.
Yeah.
And the 264 high is the one that we use for deep water
Okay.
swordfish.
Yeah.
So they're just numbers to me.
Well, I've just got a 3-in-1, like you, for side scan, and then I've got a TM185, 1 kilowatt.
On your little tin.
Yeah, on my little
Wow.
tinny, yeah.
Is it like on one side, the boat?
Yeah. They weigh like 4 kilos.
That's what we said.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's great because I got it on, the left side, so it counterbalances.
Port
Because I got a
side.
side, I got a side console.
Yep.
So it's perfect. And you fill the bait tank up a bit.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's
Makes
beautiful.
he's lost 10k an hour top end speed and it makes a
have.
giant rooster tail, but it's good.
No, there's no rooster tail anymore.
Yeah.
Done a few adjusting and it bloody works perfect. Don't lose speed at top speed, which is only about 47, but
There you go. So yeah, I hope that was useful to you, Lockie. Next question. Other than having an insane passion for fishing, what joy and excitement do you get when your followers learn from you guys and find success? That's Josh, We Fish, Herschel, Adrian's old schoolmate.
oh yeah, I actually went to school with that guy.
Yeah,
Morty Alex Secondary College.
that's what you were telling me that earlier.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You going to answer the question?
Oh, you answered it?
what joy and excitement do we get when our followers learn and find success? Well, yeah, I think I'm pretty much in fishing these days for watching other people, their faces light up and catch their first thing. It's pretty rare that I actually grab a rod ever, unless it just happens to work out that way or I'm on my own. So, yeah, a lot of the time I just take mates out, and I love if someone hasn't caught a fish or it's their first time catching a marlin, for example, or something like that. I always like to make sure they're on the rod first. So I guess it's a bit the same with all the videos and stuff we do. Like, yeah, one of the massive reasons that we put them out there is to hope that people can learn from what we're doing and put into practice and have success themselves. And I think there's a big difference between that and spoon feeding people things. Like, I don't agree with just giving someone a GPS mark, saying go do this, go there, and they're going to have success straight away, because a massive part of fishing to me is the journey of working something out, putting a lot of hours and investing time and money into something, and then like the big grand moment when you have that success at the end of it. I think that's what it's all about. So
Yeah, 100%. So you did a little charter 2 nights ago, was it?
Yep.
And this is one of the fish you got one of the guys on. So that's
Yeah.
a bloody ripper.
So
Quality.
that's what we call in the industry a
Yeah, King Kong, Donkey Kong.
that's what we call a King Kong Donkey Kong, Adrian.
Yeah, so, and you said, oh, no, I'm letting some guy win my 20-pound fishing.
Well, there is
How
some
big was it?
exceptions to the rule. Oh,
No, it didn't go that big.
well, there is some exceptions to the rule of always wanting someone else to wind the fish in, because I haven't actually caught a 20-pound snapper yet. I've been on the boat for one of them in Welshpool and in Western Port. The biggest is 8.5 or 8.45 or something like that.
Yep.
And this is like hundreds and hundreds of snapper. So that is one thing that I wouldn't mind catching. And this fish the other night, it tore offline in the hold. Like, it was just like, Adrian, do your real noise.
That's good.
It was like that. It was screaming, and it was heavy.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to get it in. It did all the stuff that they do, like a big fish does. It dogged it just under the boat.
Yep.
Dogged it out. And it came up, and it was a big knobby. And they always, I reckon, the male snapper always fight a bit harder than the females, in my opinion.
Yep.
And they always, they don't carry weight as much as the females either, because obviously they don't have roe and everything in them. So
I've seen some big sperm sacs in him, though.
yeah.
Nice, Adrian.
I'll bet you have. Yeah, so, yeah, straight out of the water, it actually, for a second, I thought it was going to be up around 8 kilo.
Yeah.
And then once all the excitement subsided, I thought, maybe more like 7, and it ended up weighing 6.5 kilo.
Wow.
So if you saw on our Instagram story where I said that was an 8 kilo fish, I never corrected that weight. That's why.
He was a little bit embarrassed.
Backtrapping.
Yeah.
But, freaking awesome looking fish.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It looks every part of it.
Yeah. So that was a great capture over the weekend. I can't even remember how we got to that, but
So you experience a lot of joy from watching people catch these fish, learning from you, I guess.
yeah.
That's what the question was. And
What
yeah.
about yourself? Are
Yeah,
you
I
along
agree.
the same lines?
I just go spite fishing, catch something because someone else catches a fish. Nah, Jase. Jase
You're competitive. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No. I actually enjoy watching, because that guy Taki fish there, Dave hadn't caught a snapper this year, and I let him wind that fish in, and that's a 88 centimetre fish.
Right.
So I really enjoyed watching him catch that.
Thanks, Unky Adrian.
No, seriously, because I was going to steal the rod, and they'll go, actually, no, you wind it, Dave,
Yeah.
and you were happy.
Yeah, it's good to take out family and friends, and they haven't done a lot
Yeah.
of fishing, and to see the excitement they get,
Yeah.
to catch a big fish. That's good.
Can you call my wife?
Oh, you want me to call your wife? Why do you want me to call your wife?
The next question is, what are your worst... Oh, no, that's not the right question, Dave. We'll skip that one. How do you convince your partners to let you go fishing all the time?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to call your wife here and see what she says.
My opinion is, I said it's because...
Hello.
Oh, here she is.
Hello, Madeline.
Hello.
Just calling you up. You're live on the podcast here.
Hello.
So we've got a question come in from a viewer, and they want to know, how do I convince you to let me go fishing all the time?
Oh, good question. Because everyone keeps asking me this. I guess the number one thing is that, like, and especially I noticed this during lockdown, is that, like, I just find fishing so good for your mental health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, during lockdown, like, when no one was allowed to go fishing or anything like that, yeah, I just saw that I was eating Jase up inside, and it really made me aware that, like, fishing was so good for him. And I don't know, like, how can I say no to that? So
Except sword fishing, that's bad for your mental health.
yeah, except for that, because you come home saying that you're going to quit fishing every time.
So, well, I reckon it's because when we first started dating, I used to fish way more than I do now, and you just were conditioned to me fishing a lot, and now I still fish a lot compared to most people, but to you it seems like awesome.
Yeah, that's also true.
So,
I also think,
yeah,
like, you also let me know how important fishing was to you. Like, at the start of our relationship, you said, like, fishing is the number one thing to me at the moment. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But I don't think I really considered how much it meant to you at that stage.
oh yeah, you didn't know what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the number one thing for us.
Oh, so basically, you're just a very supportive partner, and
yeah,
and
Yeah.
you see that it's a good mental health outlet, which I think is absolutely right. You wouldn't really want to be hanging out with me if I'm missing out on great fishing anyway, would you?
Oh yeah, definitely not.
Hey, Maddie, I reckon this will change when that baby comes out in January.
Definitely. I've lost some good fishing buddies to babies. They're just gone.
No, we've already talked about this.
Yeah, I don't want to
Say
be
it.
that person that says no to fishing.
Yeah.
But I also, I also want him to get out. But and Dave's really good at doing this as well. That, like, when he's at home and spending that home time.
No, he's not. He's checking weather apps and what the tides are doing, and he's ready to roll straight away.
Ignoring calls
Yeah,
from...
just a little bit of that.
Well, you've got to be on top of it so you know when to go.
Exactly. But, like, the point I'm trying to make is that when he's at home, he'll cook dinner for me and, let me have some me time. And, it allows me that like, I can go away with my work when he's home. So, there's a lot of flexibility.
That's
in
just
there
more
as
fishing
well.
time for him when you go away.
Yeah, but he can't do big trips when I'm away. He can't go to Portland when I'm away.
Yeah, true.
So, it's, he takes some, but he also gives back as well. So
There was that
And
one time
I
we
guess-
both went to Portland and you caught a giant tuna, and all your workmates were there because they were doing burn-offs for parks.
yeah,
So
they were doing sand burning.
we mix fishing. Our two worlds do collide sometimes, Maddie.
Yeah, sometimes. And then for some reason that weekend we made it into the paper as well, and everyone got to see me on the front page of the paper.
Yeah, because you were the only one that let go of 100-kilo tuna when 40 other people killed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right, thank
All right.
you. Thanks for
Thanks,
speaking
Maddie.
so kindly
All
of me. I'll give you that money when I get home. The bribery money.
All right, I've hung up on her by accident.
Nice.
Well, for me, I'm on the other side of that. See, I've got to have a bit of balance. Obviously, I run my own business, so I work long hours, and then I like to fish when the weather permits. But I've also got a 3-year-old and a wife, and all her family live in New Zealand, so
There you go.
I've got to give a lot of time
Yep.
when I can.
Yeah. Well,
So-
yeah, it is tricky for you because you don't have
Yeah,
a massive support network around you.
but she does let me go when when things go. So
When the fish are on the bite.
Plus, Maddie's already said that like she'll be looking after one baby already, so she's happy to take Naya. So
a little crazy 3-year-old.
we're in
you
the
reckon?
clear there. All right, so shall we move on to another question?
Yeah, whatever.
Well, there's a couple left. So we'll get through them, I reckon.
Yep.
What's your worst boat ramp? Oh, I know Jase has a really good one that wasn't on a boat ramp, actually. What's your worst boat ramp or boat towing stuff ups, Jase?
What do you got for us, Jase?
Jackknife? Is that the one you...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. So on the way to Bermagui, when the bluefin were going in, I think June, July, 2012. The big Evolution 650 we jackknifed with the Land Cruiser. So that was a bit scary, that's for sure.
Yeah. So just just aquaplaned, or like what happened there?
Well, coming down a hill and the road was corrugated and it was raining and I wasn't driving and I was in the passenger seat and we started to sway and my friend, the driver, went faster and because you hear about...
Have a look at the screen there. There it is.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so you went faster, which is supposed to be what you do.
Or you can slow down.
I suppose that's
I'm
an
not-
option.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Yeah. So then the boat jackknifed and we went down the freeway sideways with no other cars near us and hit a sign on the side of the road and that was the end of the trip.
I've heard a few guys stacking their boats on that drive.
It's a long drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because there was a big cat on the side of the road one time we were driving up there.
Black cat.
Wasn't there?
I don't know. Are you talking about Richie Abella?
Yeah, was it his boat?
Well, that was years ago. I believe one of his mates was towing his Noosa cat and it ended
that's
up
right.
flipped and off the road and written off.
Yeah, that was further up north.
That was like
Burnie.
JB. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
in a paddock.
didn't Schulte have issues a couple of years ago as well when we were driving up? We drove past him and he did a bearing or something.
Oh, yeah. But that wasn't an accident.
No.
But yeah, boat ramp fails. There was that time me and Adrian launched it at Flinders boat ramp.
With Winger's
Does
Tinny.
Flinders have a boat ramp?
At Flinders Beach.
Yeah, Flinders Pier.
And surprisingly, it's not a story about getting stuck in the sand.
No,
But,
so basically we launched the boat and I drove it and Dave parked the car and he went to the pier to the little landing. And I picked him up and he jumps on and goes, the boat looks a bit low.
Bung.
So he hops on.
Bung.
Yes, bung.
Bung.
And we get back to I just beached it onto the beach.
Yep.
I go, I thought you put the bung in. He goes, no, I thought you did it.
You too.
because it's not our boat. And
okay.
we just go, because normally before you take the boat, you put it in at home or whatever.
Do you?
And,
No,
yeah,
I always do it when you arrive because in case there's any rainwater or whatever
Yeah.
in.
I do it when I'm packing the
mine's
boats
crazy,
just so I can't forget.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the boat was full of water and we managed to beach it and
Yeah, we just beached it, let it all out again, then push it back in the water basically.
but Winger's done it in that little boat so many times. There's one time he had both
He's getting
bungs
old.
out,
Oh, yeah.
and he launched and made it to the yellow poles and turned back and he goes, the cowling was almost underwater.
No.
And he goes, he got back to the ramp and he goes, there's one bit of kelp that saved his
Yeah,
life.
apparently the bunghole got blocked with kelp,
Yeah.
which is probably the reason he doesn't clean his boat. Yeah, you could see the scum line of the water like on his
Really?
cowling when you looked at it.
No
It was
way.
that close to going under the water.
But yeah, there hasn't really been any mishaps
Well,
from launching.
Well,
really.
yeah. Well, there was one time with my when I had the gunshot, the heavy little gunshot. I was launching at Walkerville Beach, and I was like real young, and I had a Holden Jackaroo 4-wheel drive. It was like my first car,
Yeah.
and I'd never even really put it in 4-wheel drive. And I thought I was. I thought I was in 4-wheel drive. Yeah, I think that might have been what happened. I didn't know you had to lock the hubs or something, and I had that thing bogged to the trying to pull that
the
boat out
doors.
to the point where like water was nearly at the doors, and it was lucky. Yeah, some guy snatched me out
Yeah.
and lived to breathe another day or whatever the saying is. Survived, but that was probably my closest call. Yeah. So last question would be, we nearly covered them all actually. Last one. Best way to land a Mako from Fergo.
Oh, Fergo. Okay. I'll tell you what not to do. Don't grab an old rod and reel out of the garage with old 80-pound leader on it and then
You're
attach
talking
a steel trace to it and then put a live bait on it.
Is
Oh,
this,
well,
this
that was-
is you, Adrian?
Yeah, yeah. And Dave's like, change the thing. Okay, nah, she'll be right.
She'll be right.
And we
She'll be
fought.
right.
I think your brother was on the rod, and we fought this thing for like maybe 5 minutes, maybe longer. And the thing jumped out of the air. And
Look, we
that
were
was
pretty
it. Game
disrespectful to
over.
the
Yeah.
Makos, to be
Yeah.
honest. Because a lot of the time they don't do very much. So we're just like, that'll do. But I did say we should have changed that leader.
Yeah,
But I
you
think,
did.
so I think that Fergo is sort of getting at how to get them on the boat without them killing you.
Oh, yeah, I've had this issue before. I think we spoke about it last week.
Depends how big they are.
yeah.
Like if they're too big, just
I just think
they're just
any
going to
size
do damage.
I just think any size they do damage because
Yep.
I think me and Scott Henning years ago, like 5 years ago, we had a little one off Inverloch, about 15 kilo. I gaffed it. It was doing nothing. I put it on the deck. It just went crazy, and we jumped on the chairs and just watched this thing just go crazy and let it knock itself out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I always hit them with a flying. If I am keeping them, I don't really mako fish anymore. Maybe just to get rid of the stuff in the freezer. But if I was keeping them, I usually flying gaff in the gill area, which normally slows them down and also bleeds them out.
Yep, I agree.
And then tail rope, and then a priest or bat to the head.
A big one, a
Yeah.
big priest. 'Cause
And then-
sharks just don't die.
Yeah,
Oh,
bleed
that's-
them and then hang them over the side of the boat for
Yeah.
as long as it takes.
That's probably why you see these shark photos with half a head hanging off.
Yeah.
Couldn't kill them.
People making sure of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, we got to select a best question out of all those ones to give a prize to.
So what questions do we have, Dave?
Well, personally, I'm voting for the one about passion for fishing. So, one from Josh Weefish. Other than having an insane passion for fishing, what joy and excitement do you get when your followers learn from you guys and find success?
Yeah.
Is that which one are you?
I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
That shows, the true passion and not just trying to catch them all by yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
To share
Yeah.
your passion and love and, for fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm voting for.
Yeah, no,
Are you in
I
agreement?
agree. Yep.
All right.
Three ways.
Jase
Yep.
agrees. Yep.
Yep.
So he can win a cap and a shirt and a hoodie.
Yeah. All right, Josh.
All three?
We'll message you, find out what size you are, because that will probably depend on what we've got for you with our stock levels.
Yep.
I think there's definitely a hat there, isn't there, Adrian? Or did you steal the last one?
No, there's a few hats, a few hoodies, a few shirts.
We'll work it out anyway. We'll have a chat to you, Josh. So thanks everyone who sent in a question. If happy to do that weekly till we've run out of clothes. So if people want to send in more questions before next week's podcast, please do so on YouTube and Instagram.
Hang on, Dave's got a pre-record thing here.
What's up, you bloody legends? Thanks for listening to Win Against Tide again. That's it for another episode. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'd be doing us a massive favour. Thanks, guys. That was really loud.
Was it?
Anyway, that was supposed to be played right at the end of the episode, but we've gone early.
Yeah, we went early.
So I suppose we might wrap up there.
Beautiful.
Massive thanks to Jase for coming on, and
Boys, thanks for having me.
we really appreciated it. And hopefully we'll be able to get you back on in the coming weeks and months, and your favourite fish will be about then. So
We should, the three of us, go for a fish before we do the next
I'm keen.
podcast. And
we will.
I'm
We
keen
will.
to tag some snappers and kingfish on lures, so
Yeah,
it'll be
Done.
great.
let's do it.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, see you next week.
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.